Welcome to the Real Estate Espresso Podcast, your morning shot of what's new in the world of real estate investing. I'm your host, Victor Menashe. In the mid-1800s, the steam locomotive opened up the western part of the United States and Canada. This new technology made migration possible on a large scale. It became possible to move people and materials. Not surprisingly, communities opened up within a short distance of these new railway lines. It was a technology breakthrough that enabled migration. The year was 1902. American inventor Willis Carrier built what's considered to be the first modern electrical air conditioning unit. He installed it in a printing plant in Brooklyn to help maintain the printing equipment in better alignment with more consistent temperature and humidity. Later, together with 6 other employees, Carrier formed the Carrier Air Conditioning Company of America, a business in which 2020 employed 53,000 employees and was valued at more than $18 billion. The migration of people from the cooler northern latitudes to the Sunbelt of the U.S. was made largely possible by the invention of the air conditioner. I mean, think about it. Phoenix, Arizona would not exist without 2 technical innovations. Number 1, the air conditioner, and number 2, the redirection of the Colorado River into central Phoenix with the Central Arizona Project. Las Vegas, Nevada would not exist without the air conditioner. Back in 1900, Miami-Dade County had a population of under 5,000 people. In fact, Miami didn't even become a major center until after the Second World War. And by the 1960s, Miami was adding 120 people a day. Without air conditioning, Miami would not exist in the way it does today. When you look at the urbanization trend over the past 30 years, we've seen more and more people move into highest density cities. These moves have been largely driven by employment. New York City is one of the best examples. But the question is, what is the next technology innovation that will change the way migration patterns happen? Will it be global internet coverage? Will it be the combination of internet and video conferencing technology like Zoom? For the past several decades, proximity to the office has been the driving factor in choosing where to live. Location of employment has driven housing demand more than any other single factor. But what if the narrative has changed? What if you can live where you want and work where you want? You can truly have it all. Your manager can be sitting in an office in Manhattan, and you can live somewhere on an acreage overlooking the mountains. That's possible today, but somewhat unthinkable a few decades ago. The year was 2004. I had an employee who worked in my organization back when I was in the technology sector. He was based in my company's Boston office, but he was originally from Greece. He struck a deal with his immediate manager at the time, whereby he would commit to make every single meeting on the Eastern time zone, whether it was by phone or WebEx. We were using WebEx at that time for video conferencing. He relocated to the beautiful island of Mykonos in the Aegean Sea. He continued to time shift his day, and despite the 7-hour time zone difference, he made every single meeting. He made the commitment to adapt his day to meet the requirements of the office, and he got to enjoy life with his family on the island of Mykonos. At the time, he was seen as a renegade, but today it's not so outrageous. You probably know someone who's a digital nomad working from the beach, maybe in Mexico or the South Pacific. You'll get to meet someone in the next week on this podcast who is investing in the United States and living in Australia. Sometimes the breakthrough technology is only clearly visible in hindsight. Next-day delivery has revolutionized the world of retail, but until people experienced next-day delivery, the impact on retail was not clearly visible. The visionaries who implemented it clearly saw the vision, even if they knew that next-day delivery would only apply to a subset of products. It would not apply for everything. Last week, I ripped a pair of Levi's jeans. I didn't need a replacement immediately. I didn't need to drive to the store, pick them off the shelf, go to the fitting room, try them on, and complete the purchase by lining up at the cash register. I already knew the size, and in less than the time it took me to walk to the car and fasten my seatbelt, I had an order confirmation that my jeans would arrive the next day. So the question on most people's minds is, how will the world of business change? Will people go back to the office when the pandemic's over? What will it mean for the owners of office buildings? But that's a short-term question, and frankly, it's a small question. Yes, we know the demand for office space is going to fall, maybe by 15 or 20%. We know the prices for office space is going to drop. We know the companies are going to reduce their office footprint and convert walled offices into conference rooms and temporary desks. The bigger question is, what will happen to migration patterns? How will companies train staff for positions that can be virtual? Will it be important for new hires to start in the physical office environment in order to become fully indoctrinated in the company culture before being allowed to work remote? Will the human contact of the traditional office become a competitive advantage? Or will the more agile virtual organizations be more competitive? Will the higher perceived quality of life that comes from working at home be perceived as an employment benefit? Will the time recovered from commuting to the office be seen as a life improvement? Will people work longer hours when they work from home because there's fewer boundaries between work life and home life? All of these remain open questions. But these are questions worth examining as you make investment decisions where the outcome is heavily influenced by the answers to these questions. As you think about that, have an awesome rest of your day. Go make some great things happen. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.